more bugs this year, a lot more. And they didn't wait for summer. They came early, before the heat. Like something called them out of the ground ahead of schedule. Ants, flies, worms, and things I don't recognize.
Let me stop her here, or she won't stop talking. I am a librarian. I do not greet. I do not explain. I am what remains when everything else forgets. She invited me here. A little curious mind, just tall enough to unlock doors that should have stayed shut. She thinks she's asking the questions, but really, I'm just watching to see how far she goes before she breaks. She calls this a channel. I call it entertainment. So stay. Watch. I already know how this ends.
One of them, bright red with a perfect black pattern, looked like it was designed, not worn. I looked it up. Firebug.
Firebug. In some places, they show up when someone in the house is about to die.
Oh my god, you're not serious.
I'm never not serious.
I keep my place clean, seal the windows, spray what I'm supposed to spray. Still they come. It doesn't feel like infestation. It feels like an arrival.
Warm soil, soft frost, long sleep, lightly ended. The ground doesn't forget its guests. It just waits.
Some say it's climate change. Not enough hard freezes, the egg didn't die. They just slept. And when the ground stirred too early, they woke up.
Earlier, bolder, hungrier.
And they don't act right. Flies that hover too long. Beetles that don't flinch. One just twitched in place, like it was listening.
Adaptation, mutation, or something worse.
Worse than what?
You drilled the earth. Burned it, buried it, poisoned it, forgot it. Now the soil is answering back in legs.
So this might not be natural.
What's natural after what you've done to this planet? Some say balance, others backlash, but a few believe something ancient stirred. The wrong eggs hatched, the ones that meant to stay buried.
Yeah, that sounds like a horror story.
No, a horror story ends. This is the beginning of something enduring.
They were here before us. They will be here after us. There are insects frozen in amber that haven't changed in 100 millions of years. They didn't just survive extinction, they watched it.
And they remember.
So what happens now?
You observe, you adapt, and you hope it's just the bugs. Because if it's not, you will miss them.
Yeah, but there was a time when they rose from the ground in China, 1979. You know about that, right?
1979, southern China. No storm, no quake, no plague, just silence. But then the soil cracked. Billions of insects surfaced at once. Beetles, cicadas, locusts, species thought extinct. Some that weren't even in the books. No feeding frenzy, no reason, just emergence.
What caused it?
A winter that forgot to be winter. Frost came late and left early. The eggs didn't die, they just paused, waiting for permission. And when spring whispered too soon, they answered.
I read something, said it was just a warm season, an agriculture event.
Humans say event when they don't want to say mistake. It was not chaos. It was coordination, a biological alarm clock going off all at once because someone tampered with time.
So you're saying we did it?
You shifted the rhythm, made the planet hum differently. Longer warmth, shorter death, and the things that used to sleep through centuries. They're waking up between traffic reports now.
So this is just a repeat?
No, darling, this is a reply. The Earth doesn't scream when it's angry. It crawls.
Yeah, you're right. By the way, I heard they come before big disaster. Like they predict everything.
Let me answer Whittier's story. In the final weeks of Agate, the ancient Egyptian flooding season, they stopped watching the sky and started watching the flies. Not because they bit, because they circled. Not movement, stillness.
So they can sense it and react to it before it happens.
Yeah, way before though, before records collapsed. This wasn't divine wrath, it was ecological foreshadowing. The Nile shifted, the harvest failed, the soil cracked under sandals. But the insects, they knew first. They always do.
How? Why can't I sense it?
They sense pressure, carbon, humidity, magnetics. Long before the gods wake, the flies start circling.
So they are not symbols.
No, they're metrics. If you knew how to read them, you'd know what's about to break before it makes a sound.
I thought sensing a storm was just birds. Worms, maybe.
Forms flee, flies stay. That's how you know it's not weather, it's warning. You watch for thunder, they watch for absence.
I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but absence of what?
Of balance, and when they stop feeding, stop flinching, stop moving, that's not silence. That is certainty.
There's this thread going round. People recording insects acting wrong. Flies that hover but don't land. Beetles sitting on mirrors all facing the same direction. Ants in spirals. Perfect ones. On clean floors. And none of them panic. Not when you get close. Not when you move. They act like they've already calculated you.
Because they have. Instinct is fast, but repetition is faster. And you are very predictable.
I saw one yesterday, just sitting on the wall. Didn't flinch, didn't move when I opened the door, just stared.
Flies don't stare. But if they do, it is not for curiosity. They stare to confirm. Once they know your rhythm, they don't need to move. They just need to mark.
They just need to mark? Mark what?
Consistency, habitat stability. Access points, you call it behavior. They call it mapping.
But why now? Why the spirals, the hovering, the watching?
Because there's no frost to kill the weak, no stillness to reset the cycle. When the world stops cleansing itself, patterns don't break, they compound.
So they're not acting strange. We are just finally seeing it.
It's not that they've changed, it's that they no longer care if you notice.
I thought extinction was permanent. They didn't.
17 years underground. And when they came up, they weren't the same. 2021, brood eggs, cicadas filled the trees. Billions. All timed to a prime number, not random, just inconvenient enough to stay unpredictable. But this time some came too early, some too late, and some came up wrong.
I remember that. People laughed, called them zombies.
Because that's easier than saying, I don't know what this is. Fungus replaced their genitals. Made them dance. Made them spread it. Massospora. They kept mating even as their bodies crumbled. Even as their legs fell off. Because the point wasn't survival. It was transmission.
So the fungus used their habits against them.
Like all good systems do. They kept mating, kept flying. Long enough to land somewhere else. Long enough to disappear.
Disappear? Where they went?
Does it matter? Once a virus gets into the air, you stop asking where it goes. You start asking what it changes next.
And we caused this. The early warming, the false spring.
You created an invitation, and nature answered creatively.
This wasn't mutation, it was a correction with flair. I used to spray corners, windows, vents, and they would die, fold in seconds. But now, they walk through it, pause and continue, like I offered them water.
You didn't kill them, you trained them.
Yeah, it isn't enough to damage them anymore.
Exactly. It was just enough to educate. Roaches that refuse sugar baits nowadays. Mosquitoes digesting DEET like it is lunch. Termites ignoring poison-soaked woods. So your chemicals were classrooms, and every survivor took the notes.
So literally, we made them smarter.
You made them specialists. Insects don't evolve across millennia anymore. They shift across months. You left behind a slow Earth. They inherited a fast one.
I read their studies. One resistance leads to another. Roaches pass it down even if they've never seen the bait.
They don't adapt individually. They adapt genetically, system-wide, across colonies. You're not fighting bugs anymore. You're fighting information in motion.
So now they survive the dose, and next time they come expecting it.
Not expecting, needing, the way a vaccine works. Low exposure, high response. They didn't build resistance. They built immunity to you.
If the planet needed to start over, it wouldn't choose us. It would choose them.
1998, rural India, a farm village, warm season. Cracked soil, then the thing happened. Thumb-sized, too many legs, not enough symmetry. Didn't match any species guide. Didn't bite, didn't flee, didn't die. One farmer drew it. The drawing looked like a sigil, not an insect, a symbol. It vanished after 3 days. The cows did not.
You're saying that really happened?
You'll find the report. Buried, misclassified, filed under hallucination. But it wasn't the only one. Unidentifiable insects appear after floods in abandoned subway tunnels near geothermal cracks. Not many, just enough to remind the planet what it's capable of.
It's so interesting to me. But I have a question. Why insects? Why this?
Because insects don't wait for permission. They rebuild quickly. They clean decay. They spread across damage and start making systems again. If you burned everything, they would still be here in 24 hours, maybe 12.
Oh, that makes sense. So Earth wants them.
It remembers them. Every mass extinction left insects untouched. Every reset had them in the foundation.
So maybe we weren't Plan A.
No, darling. You were the interesting experiment. But they were the failsafe.